The Awakening. Commander Ilara Vega stood on the cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean, watching as storm clouds gathered on the horizon. The wind tousled her silver-streaked hair as she breathed in the salt air. 15 years of isolation had not dulled her senses. If anything, they had sharpened. She still woke before dawn, still maintained the physical regimen that had made her legendary among Earth's defense forces, and still carried the neural implant at the base of her skull that connected her to Earth's defense grid. Retired but never truly disconnected. The soft chime from her wrist communicator broke the morning silence. She frowned. No one contacted her directly anymore, not since the tribunal that had labeled her methods excessively aggressive and incompatible with peaceful solar system governance. The Global Defense Council had given her this isolated coastal property as both reward and exile. Vega, she answered, her voice rough from disuse. Commander, this is Acting Defense Director Lowell. Priority Alpha. The quarantine has been breached. Vega's pulse quickened. The quarantine, the isolation barrier that had separated Earth from the rest of the galaxy for over 70 years, was supposed to be impenetrable. The Galactic Coalition had established it after declaring humanity too unpredictable and dangerously innovative to join galactic society. External or internal breach? She asked, already moving toward her residence. External. We've received a signal. They're asking for our help. Vega stopped mid-stride. They? The same coalition that locked us away from the stars. Yes. The signal is authenticated with coalition diplomatic codes. The message was brief but clear. Humanity, we require your assistance against an existential threat. Quarantine protocols suspended. Respond with urgency. She let out a bitter laugh. 70 years of silence, and now they need us. What exactly do they think we can offer? Lowell's voice dropped lower. That's why I'm contacting you, Commander. The Council is convening in 1 hour. We need you there. It's time to activate Prometheus. The mention of Project Prometheus sent a chill down Vega's spine. The most classified military program in Earth's history, a contingency plan she had helped design before her retirement, a plan that had never been meant to see the light of day. I'll be there, she said, ending the communication. 90 minutes later, Vega stood in the circular chamber beneath New Geneva, surrounded by the 12 members of the Global Defense Council. The room hummed with tension as holographic displays showed the coalition distress signal repeating on loop. Director Lowell, a stern-faced woman in her 60s, addressed the room. For those who haven't been briefed on the full scope of Project Prometheus, Commander Vega will now provide context. Vega stepped forward, her military posture automatic after decades of service. When the Coalition quarantined Earth 70 years ago, they believed they were containing a violent, unpredictable species. What they didn't realize was that the quarantine gave us something invaluable: time. She activated the chamber's main display, revealing schematics of massive ships and weapons systems that made several council members gasp. Project Prometheus was conceived as both insurance policy and research initiative. While publicly we maintained minimal defensive capabilities, secretly we built a fleet unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. Ships that can bend reality, weapons that rewrite the laws of physics, and soldiers. She paused, meeting Lowell's gaze, soldiers enhanced beyond conventional limits. Councillor Chen, representing the Pacific Alliance, leaned forward. Are you saying we've been developing illegal technologies all this time? The Coalition quarantined us precisely because they feared our weapons development. No, Vega corrected. They quarantined us because they feared our potential. We've simply fulfilled it. How extensive is this fleet? Asked another counselor. Lowell answered this time. 17 capital ships, including the flagship Hyperion. 42 destroyers. Over 200 support vessels, all hidden within the asteroid belt, Saturn's rings, and deep ocean installations. And crews. Chen pressed. Vega's expression remained impassive. Fully automated systems were possible. For the rest, we have the Vanguard. The room fell silent. The Vanguard, the most controversial aspect of Project Prometheus. 3,000 volunteers who had undergone neural enhancement, genetic optimization, and psychological conditioning. Humans evolved beyond humanity's limits, kept in cryostasis until needed. You want to awaken the Vanguard. Counselor Mbiki's voice was barely above a whisper. These people gave up their lives, their futures, on the slim chance they might one day be needed. And now they are needed, Vega replied evenly. Whatever threat has the Coalition desperate enough to contact us must be beyond conventional response. The Vanguard was created precisely for this scenario. The Council erupted into arguments. Ethics concerns, diplomatic considerations, the moral implications of revealing their secret military might, all while the Coalition's distress call continued its silent loop on the displays. Director Lowell finally raised her hand, silencing the room. The question before us is simple. Do we answer this call? And if so, how? Chen shook his head. If we ignore them, the quarantine remains. We continue our isolation, our development. And if this threat eventually reaches Seoul, Vega challenged, whatever has the Coalition frightened will find us eventually. Better to face it on our terms, with allies, than alone. The vote, when it came, was not unanimous, but it was decisive. Earth would answer the call. Project Prometheus would be activated, and Commander Ilara Vega, the architect of humanity's hidden strength, would lead the response. 3 days later, Vega stood on the bridge of the Hyperion as the massive vessel emerged from its hiding place within Titan's shadow. The ship stretched nearly 3 kilometers from bow to stern, its midnight black hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Around it, the rest of the fleet gradually appeared as cloaking systems disengage. Commander on deck, announced Major Julian Reeves, her second in command and one of the first Vanguard soldiers to be awakened. The bridge crew, a mix of enhanced Vanguard and conventional officers, stood at attention. Like all Vanguard, Reeves moved with unnatural precision, his neural enhancements allowing him to process information at speeds no unmodified human could match. As you were, Vega said, taking the central command chair. She felt the neural interface engage, connecting her consciousness directly to the ship's systems. Information flooded her mind. System status, weapons readiness, crew conditions, all processed instantly by her enhanced cognition. Status report. Reeves stood at parade rest beside her chair. All Vanguard awakening procedures complete. 2,879 enhanced personnel operational and integrated into the fleet. Conventional crew complement at 94%. All vessels report ready for dimensional transit. Vega nodded, her focus shifting to the communications officer. Has there been any further contact from the Coalition? No, Commander. Just the original distress signal and coordinates. Very well. She addressed the entire bridge. I won't pretend this mission isn't fraught with uncertainties. We don't know what awaits us beyond the quarantine barrier. We don't know if the Coalition's request is genuine or a trap. What we do know is that humanity has spent 70 years preparing for this moment, the moment when we would reclaim our place among the stars. She stood, sensing the eyes of every crew member on her. Some of you volunteered for the Vanguard program believing you might never be awakened. Others joined this crew knowing the risks of first contact. All of you represent the best of humanity. And today, we will show the galaxy exactly what that means. Vega returned to her chair, feeling the weight of command settling onto her shoulders. Navigation, set course for the provided coordinates. Weapons, maintain ready status. Communications, prepare the response message to the Coalition. She paused, allowing herself one brief moment of reflection on the magnitude of what they were about to do. Fleet-wide transmission. Humanity responds. Help is coming. The Hyperion's reality-bending drives engage, tearing a hole in the fabric of space-time. The massive ship, followed by the rest of humanity's hidden fleet, slipped through the dimensional rift, breaking the quarantine for the first time in 70 years. As Earth vanished behind them, Vega felt a cold certainty settle in her chest. The galaxy had isolated humanity, fearing what they might become. Now, they would discover exactly what they had created. First contact. Reality folded back to normal as the Hyperion emerged at the provided coordinates, the rest of the fleet materializing in perfect formation behind it. The bridge was silent as the sensors gathered data, mapping the unfamiliar star system. Status report, Vega commanded, her enhanced mind processing the incoming sensor data even as she spoke. We've arrived at the Arcturus system, reported Lieutenant Commander Kara Santos, head of astrometrics. 7 planets, binary star configuration, multiple debris fields detected, evidence of recent large-scale combat. The main view screen shifted to show the 4th planet, once a vibrant blue-green world according to Coalition records, now scarred with continent-sized impact craters. Its atmosphere was thick with particulate matter, suggesting widespread devastation. Life signs? Vega asked. Minimal planetary activity, Santos replied. However, we're detecting approximately 200 vessels in high orbit. Mixed configurations, most showing significant damage. Coalition ships. Some match Coalition registry, others are unknown designs. Vega narrowed her eyes. Tactical assessment. Major Reeves stepped forward. The debris pattern suggests multiple engagement zones. Whatever happened here was not a single battle but a systematic assault. The surviving vessels appear to have formed a defensive perimeter around the planet. Any sign of the aggressors? Negative, Commander. However, quantum residue throughout the system indicates the use of dimensional translation technology similar to our own. They could return at any moment. Vega made her decision. Communications, open a channel to the Coalition vessels. Standard first contact protocols. Moments later, the view screen flickered to show an alien face. The being had blue-gray skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and no visible mouth. It communicated through a translation device. Unidentified vessels. This is Overseer Televax of the Coalition Defense Force. Identify yourselves immediately. Vega stood. This is Commander Ilara Vega of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress signal and have come to offer assistance. All 4 of the aliens' eyes widened. Earth. The quarantine system. There was a pause as the Overseer conferred with someone off-screen. Our records indicate Earth has no significant spacefaring capability. Your records, Vega replied coolly, are 70 years out of date. Another pause. We will send docking coordinates for your command vessel. Please limit your approach to no more than 3 ships. The rest of your fleet must remain at its current position. The transmission ended abruptly. They don't trust us, Reeves observed. Would you? Vega countered. Prepare a delegation. You, me, and Chief Science Officer Lin. The Hyperion will approach as requested, with the Aegis and Titan as escort. The rest of the fleet will maintain defensive formation and alert status. 3 hours later, Vega led her small delegation through the airlock connecting the Hyperion to the Coalition command vessel. The difference between the 2 ships was immediately apparent. Where the Hyperion was all sleek efficiency and overwhelming power, the Coalition ship seemed almost delicate, with organic curves and bioluminescent lighting. They were met by Overseer Televax and representatives from 5 other species, each more alien than the last. The tension in the air was palpable. I must admit, Televax began, we did not expect such a substantial response from Earth. The message suggested an existential threat, Vega replied. We responded accordingly. Perhaps you can explain what that threat is. The alien delegation exchanged glances before Televax gestured for them to follow. They were led to a command center where holographic displays showed the devastation throughout Coalition space. We call them the Swarm, explained a reptilian alien introduced as Strategic Commanders Exteral. They appeared at the edge of known space 3 standard cycles ago. At first, we believed them to be merely another spacefaring species seeking contact. The displays showed images of strange, asymmetrical ships with no discernible design pattern. "We were wrong," Zex Terrell continued. "They are not ships as we understand them. They are living technology, a hive consciousness that consumes and adapts. Each engagement makes them stronger as they incorporate our technology and knowledge into their collective." "How many worlds have been lost?" asked Science Officer Lin. 27. Televax answered grimly, "including 3 of our most populous core worlds. Conventional weapons prove increasingly ineffective as they adapt. Our scientists estimate total coalition collapse within 1 standard cycle." Vega studied the tactical displays, her enhanced mind analyzing attack patterns. "And you contacted Earth because..." Another alien stepped forward. This one humanoid, but with iridescent skin that shifted colors with its emotions. "Because of your reputation, Commander. Before the quarantine, humanity was known for one thing above all else: your unparalleled capacity for warfare." Vega met the alien's gaze. "You feared our violence, so you isolated us. Now you need that same violence." "We need your innovation," corrected Televax. "Your species' ability to conceive of weapons and strategies that no other species would consider. The very unpredictability that led to your quarantine may be the galaxy's only hope." Before Vega could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The tactical displays flared with new contacts. "The swarm," Zex Terrell hissed. "They'd found us." Vega watched as hundreds of the bizarre, asymmetrical vessels emerged from dimensional rifts throughout the system. The coalition ships moved to defensive positions, but their formation was ragged, their movements betraying exhaustion and fear. "How long until they reach the planet?" she asked. 20 minutes, perhaps less," answered Televax. "We should evacuate." "No." Vega activated her neural link, connecting to the Hyperion and the rest of the human fleet. "You asked for humanity's help. Now you'll see what we can do." She turned to Reeves. "Major, return to the Hyperion. Implement Combat Protocol Omega." As Reeves left, Vega addressed the Coalition command staff. "I need direct access to your defense grid and tactical networks." The aliens hesitated, centuries of ingrained distrust warring with desperate need. "There's no time for debate," Vega pressed. "Either trust us now or prepare to evacuate." Televax made a gesture, and a neural interface, similar to the one on the Hyperion, extended from a console. "The Coalition network is now open to you, Commander." Vega connected, her enhanced mind navigating the alien systems with increasing speed as her neural implants adapted. Through this connection, she observed as the human fleet moved with perfect precision, forming an entirely new configuration that the Coalition tacticians watched with confusion. "What are they doing?" asked one of the aliens. "That formation has no defensive coherence." "It's not defensive," Vega replied, her focus split between the Coalition network and her fleet. Humanity never believed in fighting defensively. The human ships accelerated toward the approaching swarm at speeds that made the Coalition officers gasp. Just before contact, the fleet split into smaller interlocking groups that seemed to move with a single mind. What followed was unlike anything the Coalition had ever witnessed. The human vessels didn't just fire weapons. They bent reality around the swarm ships. Space folded in impossible ways as the Hyperion led the assault, its reality distortion drives creating localized dimensional anomalies that trapped enemy vessels in pockets of altered physics. The smaller human ships darted between the larger swarm vessels, deploying weapons that seemed to ignore conventional defenses. The Aegis unleashed swarms of self-replicating nanites that dismantled swarm ships from within. The Titan projected fields that accelerated time in localized bubbles, causing enemy systems to age and fail in seconds. "Impossible," whispered Zex Terrell as they watched the battle unfold. "Your weapons, they defy natural law." "The laws of physics," Vega replied without taking her eyes from the tactical display, "are more like guidelines to us." The swarm, facing humanity's technological onslaught for the first time, attempted to adapt. But each time they incorporated a defense against one human weapon, 3 more variants were deployed. It was innovation at a pace even the collective consciousness couldn't match. Within 40 minutes, the tide had turned. The remaining swarm vessels began to retreat, dimensional rifts opening as they fled the system. "They're escaping," said Televax. "No," Vega corrected. "They're being herded." She gestured to the display, where the pattern of the human attack became clear. The fleet wasn't just defeating the swarm, it was driving them toward a specific point in space where the Hyperion had deployed a special device. "What is that?" asked Science Officer Lin, who had remained with the Coalition command staff. "A dimensional anchor," Vega explained. "Once activated, it will prevent dimensional travel within this system for approximately 30 days. The swarm won't be able to return." As the last enemy vessels crossed the invisible boundary, the device activated. Space rippled visibly on the displays as dimensional energies stabilized. A stunned silence fell over the Coalition command center. "One battle," Televax finally said, "does not win a war." "No," agreed Vega, "but it buys us time. Time for your scientists to study our technology. Time for our tacticians to analyze the swarm's patterns. Time to form a real alliance." She disconnected from the neural interface and faced the assembled aliens. 70 years ago, you feared what humanity might become. You were right to be afraid. But now, that same potential is your greatest asset. The iridescent alien skin shifted to a deep purple, a color Vega would later learn signified profound respect. "What do you propose, Commander?" "A new coalition," she answered. "One that recognizes the value of controlled innovation. One that understands that peace sometimes requires the credible threat of overwhelming force." She gestured to the displays showing the human fleet regrouping after the battle. "You've seen what 70 years of isolation and focused development has created. Imagine what we could accomplish together." As the Coalition representatives murmured among themselves, Vega felt a grim satisfaction. Humanity had been cast out, feared for their potential for violence. Now that same capacity would earn them a place among the stars. The galaxy had created its own salvation when it forced humanity to evolve in isolation. What emerged wasn't just a species with advanced technology, but one with the uncompromising will to use it. The swarm would learn, as the Coalition was learning now, that humanity's reputation was well earned. They were indeed the most dangerous species in the galaxy. And now, they were unleashed.